Let's talk about transformation. This is often the most overlooked part of becoming an author, but it is so pivotal to how you will market and present your book at the end of this amazing journey. Now, the reason for that is because we live in such an instant society that there are so many people that turn to AI, and others may feel like they just need to bash something out, chuck it between two covers and release it just in order to be able to call themselves an author. Now, I know that's not you, and that's why you're here with me today. So I'd really like to show you what is possible when you open yourself up to the idea of transforming through this process of becoming an author. So there are 3 core levels that I'm going to share with you that people can transform through the process of authorship. The first one is transformation of self. Now, when we open ourselves up to what's possible, it can be incredible what actually unfolds for you as you write your book. Now, this journey will actually be unfolding for you right now as you are building these strong foundations for your book and preparing to write your first draft. It will continue all the way through until you've got that beautiful book in your hands and you are sharing it with the world. So that journey can look like so many different things for different people, and I've been absolutely privileged to witness some incredible transformations for people over the years where I've been doing these workshops. Some amazing self-transformations I have seen have included authors who have healed past traumas through the process of writing their story. People who have mended relationships with friends or family that they're disconnected with many, many years ago over a disagreement. As a result, I've seen a lot of people who are using their books for business absolutely elevate to a whole new level because they understand their core why and what is driving them, both in business and as an author. And when you put those two together, you become absolutely unstoppable. This is why going on this journey is the most precious gift that you can give to yourself, because the transformation for each person is very unique and very different. But the point is that it will happen for you, and I can't wait to see how that unfolds on your journey. The best part about this is that there's really nothing you have to do in order for this to happen. It will be a natural progression as you take each step forward on your authorship journey. Now, I'd love to share you a story. I'm a big fan of stories. The perfect illustration in my mind of a personal journey of transformation would have to be Dr. Sherry Hall, who wrote Perfect Love. Now, in this book, Sherry details the story behind an album that she released that was also called Perfect Love. So this is basically the behind the scenes of what was happening in her life at the time and beyond the release of that album. What happened with Sherry is that she grew up in America and had a whole life there. She had built an amazing career as an anaesthetist and had worked with some really high-profile doctors there before moving to Australia and finding love and starting a family. Now, I don't want to give away too many spoilers, but the love kind of didn't work out, and there's a whole, I'll leave you to the pages of this book to find out what that journey looked like. So one of the most challenging things for Sherry when it came to telling her authentic story was knowing that there were people here in Australia who never knew the American version of her. And by version, I mean just that she was younger, she was more adventurous, there was a lot of things going on that she would never have done as a wife and mother in Australia. Again, not giving you spoilers, you got to read the book. So Sherry really had to come to grips with how much of this am I going to share. And to her credit, she stepped up and she's put the whole thing in there. So you can see it's quite a tome. She's really told the full story the way that she wanted to tell it. And through that transformation, she's emerged absolutely connected with who she is, what her strong message is. So Perfect Love, I can spoil this one for you. It's not the love you get from other people. It's the love that you have for and with yourself. So that transformation led to such a beautiful message and theme for the whole book. And it just shows what's possible when you connect to self. So the second element of transformation happens for your reader. So it's the transformation that happens when your reader picks up a copy of your book. This is where they get to absorb all of the knowledge, wisdom, inspiration, and messages that you have taken the time to curate in the covers of your book. Because you already know who your ideal reader is, this is another chance for you to look at the kind of transformation that you would love to see in your ideal reader. Now, it can be big, it can be small, it can be an opportunity for you to let them choose their own adventure if you'd like them to. But I'd love to share another story with you, and that is of Barry Bourne's memoir called Unbreakable. Now, yes, it is a play on words. He has a whole business book series that have that beautiful play on words that link with his surname, so it makes it a little bit of fun. Now, what's different about this book of Barry's is that it was actually started as a narrative therapy exercise that was given to him by his counsellor after his wife passed away very suddenly and very unexpectedly. So Barry set to work writing down how he was feeling and how he was evolving through every day as he processed his grief, which is a huge journey, as anyone who's lost someone would know. And what happened was the more he started to write, the more he realized that there were going to be so many other people out there on this very same journey that he could potentially help by sharing what it was that he was going through. So it didn't start with the intent of becoming a book, but because Barry could see the potential transformation of a reader by linking in and connecting with his lived experience, he decided to go ahead and release it as a book. And what that did was it allowed him to build up the confidence to get back on stage with his guitar and share his story in the unique way that Barry does, and that's combining song and story. So his book has really helped to elevate that the awareness around what happens when you're traveling through grief, and to provide that connection point for the so many people who have experienced or are on that journey right now. The third level of transformation is the transformation of your income. Now, this is something a lot of creatives shy away from, especially if it's a passion project. You might not feel like, making money from your book is something you want to talk about and explore. But I'd just like to plant the seed for you right now to see what might grow from this conversation. So it is important to have these conversations around this element for your book, because it can be so much more than just a product that you can sell for $19 or $24.99. It can actually become a really powerful pillar off of which you can build just about anything. So if you are on this journey as a business owner, you'll know that this book is going to potentially open up doors for you that may otherwise have been slammed firmly shut. And I'm talking in the realm of getting on stages, of presenting workshops, of pulling in clients who you can work directly with one-on-one to help share your knowledge and get that message out there. And even if you don't have a business, just being able to call yourself an author opens up opportunities for you to be able to go and share your message on bigger stages and connect with even more people that you can help to transform through your message. So I'd love to share a simple formula with you that you can use to remember why this level of transformation is so important. That is inspiration plus influence equals income. What that means in a nutshell is that when you inspire people with your authentic message and your journey and your lived experience, you can actually help to influence them in terms of connection, bringing them to you and understanding your core message. And that transformation will lead to income, which could be more book sales, or it could be any of the things that I mentioned earlier that can help you to elevate not only your message to another level, but help you to reach more and more people around the world and really anchor in that message that you are so passionate about. So as you know, I came from print media and was definitely not a business person when I first started. I had to learn the ropes very quickly and on my feet. But one thing that I did learn very early on is that people often engage with you rather than what you are selling in terms of a product or service. So they will 100% pick someone that they feel more connected to over something that might be the latest whiz bang, whatever it is. So it's really important to understand that influence is such an important part of that formula that I have given you. And one person who has done incredibly well with his book in terms of the transformation on the income front is Stu Darling. So I'd love to share a bit of his story with you. So Stu was actually a ghostwriting client. Oh, I gave a name. He was he is the only person I have worked with in a ghostwriting capacity who has publicly come out, blessed his cotton socks, and let everyone know that we worked together on his book, which was Lead Through Life. So Stu had an amazing framework that he wanted to write his book about, and it was all about building resilient and strong leaders. So when we first connected, that's all he wanted was his framework pulled together into a book. So we set off on that journey. But what I found very quickly is that his personal story was so incredibly powerful and linked in to the framework that he had created. So we set off initially to build this book around his framework, but I quickly learned that his personal story was so interlinked with the framework that he had created that it would have been a tragedy not to couple them together and place them in the same book. So luckily for me, Stu was happy to go along for the ride, and we were able to show how him losing his father at a young age meant that he didn't have any male role models in his home. When he enlisted in the military, I think as soon as he could, he was in there. Your superiors are thrust upon you. You have to obey, whether you like them or not. You have to follow orders. And then, of course, himself rising through the ranks and becoming that leader for other people and how that impacted him, especially when it came to decisions about deploying troops in combat situations and covert operations. So amazing, amazing lived experience. And that is what really makes his book on leadership different to the 50 million other leadership books that are out there in the world. So it's so important, again, to take your own lived experience and mesh it in with anything that you're going to be teaching. So where the income comes into play for Stu specifically is he was launching this book as a pillar for an existing coaching business that he had. What he was able to do was seize this opportunity with both hands, and he has grown the business substantially. He lives in New Zealand and has toured all through the country with his workshops, bringing in C-suite level executives to share his mode of leadership with them and get them really aware of how they're showing up in their respective industries. He also was able to secure himself a radio show. So every week he's on the airwaves, getting that message out there and elevating his business and his message by connecting with leaders from around the world. And finally, we all love a bit of media attention, and especially when we're first starting out as first-time authors, it can be hard to break through that barrier to get your message out there. Now, what Stu was able to do was establish himself to such a level that he had the mainstream media calling him as a commentator on anything to do with leadership. Now, one thing I love to share about Stu's journey is that he did publish in 2020, just before COVID, and none of this was able to stop his progress, and he was able to still elevate his book and his message, despite the world going into lockdown around the same time. So it just goes to show what is possible for you when you start to think of your book as a pillar rather than just a product that's going to sit on someone's bookshelf. So with those 3 levels of transformation now in your periphery, I'd love you to take some time to go through the workbook and look at the 3 levels of transformation for yourself. Have a think about the kind of transformation that might be possible for you as you write and craft your book, the kind of transformation you would like to take your reader on, and what kind of things you can build around your book to really take it to the next level and reach as many people as possible. That's your little activity and assignment for today, and I look forward to seeing you in the next module.